What's going on, y'all? Chuck Nunface here. No knife in the shot yet. We'll get to that. 1 month, one knife 2024 is right around the corner. As of today, when you watch this video, I should say it will be July 30th. So that means Thursday starts 1 month, one knife. This is something that I have participated in. It's done over on Instagram. It's run by a couple of characters over there. And this will be the third year that I'm participating in it. And so basically the whole premise behind it is you choose one knife. You carry only that knife for the entire month of August, all 31 days of August. So there's no switching it up. There's no, hey, look at my new knife day and posting on Instagram. I just got it, so I'm going to carry it for one day and then go back to the old one. Now, you carry the same knife. You don't make any modifications to the knife. You can sharpen the knife, of course. If your knife gets dull, you can sharpen it. But you don't make, you don't do scale swaps. You don't do any of this other stuff. And the additional portion of the challenge, which I hope is implemented, is that there's none of this, oh, well, it's my couch carry, and I'm going to play with this knife, and I'm going to post this knife on Instagram because I'm getting bored of my feed and, posting the same knife. To me, part of the challenge, the spirit of the challenge isn't just carrying one knife and learning the nuances and intricacies of that knife and limitations and just struggling through, because us as knife nuts, we want to carry different stuff all the time. I mean, we have collections that we just want to rotate through. So, if you're like me, you've got 5 or 6 that are in the current rotation, and then something new comes in, or you go back to something old and you start carrying that more. So the whole point is to not just carry the one knife, but for me at least, and I hope others embrace this as well, it's also to keep your feed interesting, because it is done over on Instagram. And so I think part of the challenge and the spirit of the competition and the challenge is to, keep your feed interesting and stay engaged in your own feed. Because if you're like me, you get bored kind of posting. I get into ruts all the time when it comes to posting content on Instagram. I mean, I like doing it. It's a hobby, but I get into ruts. So first year I did it with the Emerson Roadhouse, the Sway's dog, and I made it through all 31 days. Great knife and everything else. I didn't end up selling the knife just because, I don't know, I didn't end up carrying it. I kind of wish I still had it, but whatever. Last year, I did a YouTube vote on, like a poll on which one I would carry, and I had like 4 or 5 different choices, and the result was to carry the Grimsmo Norseman. I only made it about 8 days in that competition through the Grimsmo Norseman because I ended up going to sharpen it, and that day my wife had car trouble, and that took the rest of the day, and I didn't get the knife sharpened, and I left in the KME clamps, and I had to bow to the competition, or the challenge. So that was that. So this year I'm not asking for community. I'm not doing a vote. I mean, I'm going to make my own decision, but I would like a little bit input on what you think I should be carrying for 1 month, one knife 2024. So I've already talked for about 3 minutes. Let's go into the choices. First choice, I have the Microtech MSI, or just the MSI, the Microtech Standard Issue. Now, this is not in its stock configuration. It is featuring the original GOAT scales. They do now offer this with aluminum scales, so it's not just G10 and polymer anymore. They do have this in aluminum, so if you're thinking about picking one up, aluminum's pretty awesome. But this has the original GOAT aftermarket scales. This one I'm thinking because it is such a good utility blade shape, that Warncliffe with belly. I'm thinking, I could definitely use this knife, on a daily basis, and it'll cover a lot of tasks. And so that's the reason I'm kind of choosing this one. Plus, I mean, I like the MSI. However, it's kind of gone into the back of the rotation of my Microtechs. Like, I like the Amphibian better. So you're saying, well, why don't you choose the Amphibian? Well, because I already know I really like the Amphibian. And I don't know if I like this one as much, even though this one is more of a useful utility style design. So that is going to be the first choice right there. That is the MSI. Next, we've got the Demco 8020 in MagnaCut. This one, this is a great knife. I could easily see myself carrying this and using this all month long. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think of this one. Really, for any of these knives right here, let me know what you think on which one I should carry, what your recommendation would be. But yeah, the 80/20 Magna Cut, I've already used this a lot. I've sharpened it twice, actually. First was just to put my own edge on it. Second was when we had the hurricane, we had some shingles blow off our roof, just ridge cap shingles, nothing too crazy. And ended up replacing those, and I was cutting some of the asphalt shingles. And if you've ever examined an asphalt shingle closely, it's got all these little pebbles in it. I actually trimmed these shingles to shape with this knife. Now the edge, it was seriously deformed after that. It was no longer usable. I mean, it is a really rough medium. But there was no chips, no major damage that couldn't be repaired with, 15 minutes on the KME. So I was able to bring that edge right back. Not a problem. It is screaming sharp right now, catching my finger very easily. This one, I know it can do the work. I know it's a capable knife. I know it's an awesome knife. I know I would enjoy using this and carrying this every day. So let me know what you think of this one right here. Plus it's got the fidget factor as well, which is true for the MSI also. So that's number 2 choice. Number 3 choice, Emerson Super CQC7. Emerson, I'm going to just see if I can get some of that glare off of this. Emerson has been, like I say, the first 1 month, 1 knife, I chose an Emerson, and I made it through all the way. It's just a solid all-around knife, and this one has just really clicked with me for whatever reason. I recently picked up an Apache as well, but the Super CQC7 has really it's clicked with me in a lot of ways. I just kind of like it. I like its size, I like its heft, I like the grind on it. I put a new edge on this. It's got a nice, it's probably a 30-degree edge, but you also have to remember when you're dealing with a chisel grind, 30 degrees is not 60 degrees inclusive. 30 degrees is 30 degrees. So that already is the inclusiveness of the grind. So this is definitely a strong contender. I'm not sure, but that is a strong contender right there, that CQC7. We may go and do Emerson. See if we can catch lightning in a bottle twice. Fourth knife that I'm kind of considering is going to be the Spyderco Military 2, I should say, with the compression lock. If you watch my video on this, my first impressions video, this is an S110V version. But I have done a scale swap on it already. These are rock scale design scales. Just as an aside, I did a video on this, on the scale swap, but I had some technical difficulties, and at some point during the video, my camera turned off. There's an accident, like my lighting system fell, and it ended up shutting off my camera, and I didn't realize, and I kept on going. I was like, oh man. So I may do a follow-up and kind of connect the two videos. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, this is sporting the TI scales and that blasted finish from Rock Scale Designs. I really like this. I'm liking this configuration quite a bit. And frankly, I am just liking the Military 2. It's kind of a combination of what I always hoped the Military was and the Paramilitary 2 was. So, I don't know. It's got the size of the Military, but it's got the features of the Para 2 or the PM2. And so this is also another pretty strong contender right there. And then lastly, another Microtech, the Microtech Stitch Auto. Now this is kind of the one that I think would be the most interesting to carry, because it would be the most challenging personally to carry, simply because I don't know if I want to carry an auto for 31 days. Plus also I'm not 100% on the heat treat of this M390, this Microtech M390. I'm not sure 100% on the heat treat of this. And so I'd be kind of curious to see how the edge held up to use and to wear and everything else. Plus the coating and all that. It's got that Cerakoting on it and everything else, because this is the Signature Series Stitch Auto. So why not the manual? I don't know. I just like the auto better. I like the ergos of the auto better. I like the heft. I like the feel of the auto better. But the challenge would be to me is I don't know if I want to carry an automatic knife for 30 days. Plus this it's a little on the heavy side, and it's not the only heavier knife in the group. Like that Emerson's pretty heavy too. But I have to also kind of factor in, what I'll be wearing over the course of a month. There's going to be days when I'm in suits. There's going to be days when I'm in jeans and everything else. And this one, I don't know. I got to kind of balance all that together too. So, to recap, we've got the Stitch. We've got the CQC7. We've got the Demco 8020S. We've got the Spyderco. We got the Spyderco Military 2 and S110V. And we have the MSI Microtech Standard Issue. So, which do you think? Let me know in the comments. Which do you think I should take? Which would you take? Interestingly, though, and I didn't realize this until I was kind of getting ready to shoot this video, was all of the knives they do have something in common in the fact that they're not obscure or overly boutique-y kind of knives, or knife makers. I mean, Emerson, famous in the worst places. I mean, these are very common knives. Now, yeah, granted, the Super CQC7, the Super 7 may not be the most common knife because they just brought it back into production and it's sold out right now. But, the CQC7 is one of the most popular patterns they've ever produced, if not the most popular pattern. And so this is not, some obscure knife. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than the normal one, but it's not some obscure knife or some obscure company. Two choices from Microtech. Very common company. A lot of people have Microtech knives. A lot of people carry Microtech knives. The MSI, yeah, of course, does have aftermarket scales and a Lynch clip and everything else, but, really, these are readily available. You can go and you can buy an MSI in multiple configurations, no problem at all. And then the Stitch, tons of people own Stitches. This is not an uncommon knife. It's been around for a long time, the auto configuration at least. They now, of course, have the manual Stitch. But you can go out and buy these. Now, this is a little bit more of a boutique finish on it in the sense that it's a signature series in the urban camo. But, this is not an uncommon knife, or from an obscure company. Very common knife from a common company. Spyderco, tons of Spydercos out there. Probably one of the biggest, certainly one of the biggest knife manufacturers in the United States. One of the most popular knife companies in the world, easily, I would say. It's a Military 2. It's newer and everything else, but, once again, a Military 2. You can just go out and buy a Military 2. Not hard to find. And then I would say probably the most exclusive, for lack of a better term, knife that I'm considering would just be the Demco 8020, the 8020S. There's a lot of these out there. These drops are pretty common, and they do go quick. But 8020s and 8020Ss, they are out there, and they do get dropped pretty frequently, and they're not impossible to get. They're definitely not. You may have to do a little work in order to get one. You may not get it the first time you're trying, but they're not impossible to find, the 8020S. And so this would probably be the least common, most exclusive type of knife that I'm even considering using in this challenge. And I think something has to be said for that when it comes down to choosing a true EDC and something that you're going to be using for more than a day or two. We default to kind of what we know and kind of what, at least, maybe this is just theoretical, but for me at least, I'm defaulting to what I know, what I have experience with, and what is frankly just quite common. I'm not choosing the Tom Mayo Custom. I'm not choosing the Shirogorov. I'm not choosing, what are some of the other ones that I have? I don't know. I've got others, but I can't think of them offhand. I'm choosing something pretty common, pretty sturdy, that really is going to offer a whole lot of surprises. And they're just good working knives. So we'll see how it goes. Let me know in the comments what you think. Give me a follow on Instagram at Chuck_Nunface. Follow me on Instagram. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let me know which of these knives you would carry, which one you think I should carry. Would you participate in a challenge like this? Let me know what you think in the comments. Appreciate you checking everything out, and you have a good one, y'all. Peace.